Have you ever doubted someone you loved deeply? In 8 years of marriage, have I ever given you cause to distrust me? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Yet, suspicion crept in, poisoning everything. If I ever find out you did this to be with another man, that trust will be irrevocably broken along with our marriage, I declared in anger. And with those words, our home grew cold and distant. You can sleep in the guest room. I don't even want you around me more than necessary, I said, the finality in my voice drawing a stark line between us. This is my story. Enjoy watching it. Honey, do you believe me? Like, really believe in me? That's a tough one, right? If you say sure, you know you won't like what comes next. But say no, and that might be even worse. Ken took a moment. Before I say anything, what's up? Why this question now? I didn't say you don't believe in me. Just asking, okay? Still, there's a reason you asked. I want to know why before I answer. Just a simple yes or no. Do you trust me? It's not simple, and you know it. I won't answer without knowing why you're asking. Jennifer sighed. This wasn't what she hoped for. He was meant to say, yes, I do, easily. Then she could have her way. But no, he was too smart for that. Time for plan B, she thought. Maybe being honest is best. I need you to not ask questions. I have to go away for the weekend. Wait, what? Now you're saying you have to leave for the weekend and I shouldn't ask where or why? Exactly. It's a big ask, but in 8 years, did I ever make you doubt me? She asked. No, not till now. You see how odd this sounds? No one would agree to this if roles were flipped. What would you say? She paused, then said, like you. I'd hate it. I'd wonder why you couldn't share. But I'd think it must be important. It must be really important or you wouldn't ask. And I know you love me a lot and wouldn't want to hurt me. So yes, I'd trust you. Ken sat in one of the kitchen chairs, letting out a sigh. He should have seen that coming. He walked right into it. How long will you be gone? He asked. I have to leave Friday. You won't see me before you get home from work, and I'd be back by Sunday afternoon, she said. This Friday, right? How long have you been thinking about this? I didn't really plan it. It was something that just, well, showed up, she replied. An opportunity. And you can't say anything about this chance. Where you're going, who you'll be with, nothing. Jennifer? Slowly, she shakes her head. I'm sorry, dear, I just can't say. What if I say I don't trust you to just go for 2 days without telling me where or what you're doing? Would you still go? She looked at him for a bit. I really don't know. But I'd be really upset if you didn't trust me. I don't know, he said softly, thinking it over. I just don't get why you can't tell me where you're going. If I let you do this, I'm going to worry about it for a long time. Maybe years. That doesn't seem fair, Jen, does it? He looked at his wife. She clearly looked worried. I'm sorry, love. If I could tell you, I would. But I just can't. Please trust me, she asked again. They looked at each other for a bit more. Then she said she was going upstairs to read before bed and asked him to think about it hard. He did. For the next 2 hours, Ken thought about every possible reason, every likely story he could come up with. But he got nowhere. He kept coming back to one thought. She was going to be with another man. Just the thought made him feel cold inside. Damn it, he whispered to himself. He really wished he understood what was happening. The thought of Jennifer spending the weekend with another man didn't sit right with him. They had a good marriage, loyal through and through, he was sure of it. No, he thought, there must be another reason. She wouldn't be unfaithful. She knew well it would mean the end of their marriage. She wouldn't risk it. Was it some kind of test? He wondered. But that didn't fit her style. It all didn't add up. He felt tired, worn thin. Maybe, he hoped, she'll say it was all a joke in the morning. That'd be great, he thought. But deep down, he knew better. No, she meant whatever this was. By the time Ken got to bed, his wife was already asleep. He still hadn't figured out his next move. He lay down, eyes on the ceiling, searching for any reason for his wife's strange ask. He drifted off into a restless sleep, the question still hanging over him. The next morning, he was half in a dream. The alarm hadn't rung yet, but something was waking him up, and it felt way better than any alarm. He opened his eyes, lifted his head slightly, and saw his wife's head. giving him a morning surprise. He checked again, seeing her smile at him. She leaned in, hands on his chest, moving in a way that welcomed him fully. God, she sighed. Jennifer lay on him, both catching their breath. It's been a while since I've had such a nice wake-up call, he said. Too long? She answered, still breathing hard. Is this about our talk last night? He asked. Well, I hoped it would earn me some good points, she said, a tricky smile on her face. Ken's face went from super happy to annoyed. Her just said words made a good time feel like a trick. If she thinks she can make me trust her with this, she's very wrong. Without talking, he moved her aside, got up, and walked to the shower. Jen knew she messed up by telling him her plan. Her idea was falling apart. She thought about his question from last night. If he says no, would she still go? She didn't know. She just hoped she wouldn't have to choose. She put on her robe and went to the kitchen. When Ken came out, breakfast was ready with a smile and a cheek kiss. She was trying too hard. He thought it was pointless. He had made up his mind in the shower. He just hoped he was making the right choice. You didn't change your mind from last night? He asked. No, dear, she said, her head moving no. This is something I need to do. Well, I've decided to let you do what you want and not ask why. Dear, thank you. He stopped her. But I want you to know you've hurt me, Jen. You want me to trust you, but you don't tell me things. Instead, you use getting close as a way to push me. It looks like the trust is just from my side. Dear, it's not that I don't trust you. Then what is it? If it's not about trust, then you must be planning something you're not proud of. She looked down. She had no words. If this thing is so very important that you're going to do it even when it hurts me, then go. But know this. If I ever find out this was for another man, that trust and our marriage are done. She said yes with a small nod. I don't want to hurt you, dear. I really don't. I wish I didn't have to do this. But it means a lot to me. Please don't feel bad. He said nothing back. No more words were shared at the breakfast spot. They gave each other a kiss when it was time for him to go to work. But Jen could tell his kiss had no real feel. She hoped he'd be in a better mood when he came back home. Jen fought with her thoughts all day. She wasn't lying when she told Ken her trip on the weekend was big for her, but it hurt her too, knowing she was causing pain to the man she loved. Her belly was in knots all morning. By noon, she had made up her mind. This chance was 1 in a million. She wouldn't get this shot again. She didn't want to live on thinking, what if? So she decided she would make it right with her amazing husband, even if it took her whole life. But she was sticking to her plan. Despite trying to make things light that night, Ken was clearly down. He showed his sadness, hoping she would change her mind. He guessed she might try to make him feel better by getting close in bed. He'd say no if she did, but she guessed he'd see it as another trick, and didn't try. He was distant again the next morning at breakfast, still hoping his mood would make her stay. But that day, she called him at work to say she was leaving. I love you, were her last words before he ended the call without a word back. Hey, my friend, Arnie can't come this Sunday. Ken was deep in thought. He still had a little hope that his wife would stay last minute, but that wasn't going to be. I'm sorry, Jack. What were you saying? He asked his old friend and workmate Arnie. He can't make it this Sunday, Jack said again. Are you all right? Yeah, I'm okay. Ken woke up, his mind still fuzzy. Arnie can't come. Darn. Who else can we get? He mumbled. He wondered if they could find someone last minute. I'll ask around, but let's also tell the golf shop we're short one person. Maybe they can help, he suggested, though he wasn't feeling well. Jack, his friend, gave him a worried look. You sure you're okay? He asked. Ken just nodded, not wanting to talk about his problems, especially not about how troubled he was over his wife. Yeah, I'm fine. Just a lot on my mind, Ken managed to say, trying to seem casual. Work was tough for him that day. All he could think about was his wife leaving without saying where to or why, making him imagine the worst, her with another man. He kept denying it, telling himself she wouldn't cheat. But the thought was torture, torturing him with why and how could she do this. He felt lost, hurt, and really angry. And that anger was pushing him now. He thought about making her feel what he was feeling. He didn't want to stop loving her, but he wanted her to feel the hurt too. It's like that old song, he thought. hurting those you love. He decided two can play this game. He wanted to get back, not to lose his love, but to make her feel the pain she caused him. He wished she knew the hurt he felt because of her, and he was dead set on showing her. Once home, he planned to shift all her stuff to the spare room. She thought he was just ignoring her. Just wait. He thought he'd make her wish she was never born. On the way home, Ken grabbed dinner. He had the whole weekend for his plan of revenge. "Good evening. Can I get you a drink?" a nice waitress asked, giving him a menu. "Coffee, please," he said, opening the menu. Just looking made him feel sick. His anger had hidden his worry until now. His hands lightly shook as he took a glass of water. Again, his mind went to dark places, thinking of his wife with another man. "How are we doing? Decided yet?" The happy voice came again. Ken had to ask her to repeat. "What would you like to eat?" she said again slowly. "Just the coffee," he said, giving back the menu. Ken sat, drinking coffee and lost in sad thoughts. He tried not to cry again, and won, for now. It was nearly dark when Ken got home. Deep down, he hoped she'd be there, ready to hug and kiss him. But one look at the dark home killed that tiny hope. His anger came back, strong as he entered the empty house. All the day's worry seemed to explode. He was mad and took it out on the lamp in the hall. With a strong throw, he sent it flying, its cord snapping as it hit and damaged his favorite painting. The painting fell, glass and bits from the lamp scattered on the floor as he stormed upstairs. Without thinking, he grabbed her clothes from their room and dumped them in the guest room. It took a few trips, with Ken moving armfuls of hangers until he had moved all her things. Back in their room, he didn't even empty her underwear drawer. He just pulled it out and dropped it on the guest room floor. He was angry and wanted her to know it. Later, unable to sleep, he thought of something new. What if she was doing all this for him? What if she had a big surprise and couldn't tell him? Stupid, right? Ken turned to see the clock. It was 2 a.m. after a long day. He felt drained but couldn't sleep. His mind was a mess. For the first time, he felt a tear roll down his cheek to his pillow, thinking maybe her mystery trip was for him. The idea made him even more confused. He had never felt so torn up inside. Ken flipped off the blanket, hot and bare, and pushed himself to sit, rubbing away the tears of hurt from his eyes. No more sleep for him tonight. He walked to the kitchen for some coffee. "Curse her," he whispered to the empty room. "Curse her to the end." Ken had heard her say it was big for her a lot of times. Talking to the air, he added, "Why tell me it's for me when she's just doing it for her? No, it's all for her, not me." As he drank his second mug of strong coffee, Ken made up his mind. He didn't believe she'd bring back anything good for him, but it didn't matter. She needed to feel a bit of the pain she gave him. Once he decided, he felt ready to try sleeping again. It was dark when he finally fell asleep. Come Saturday, Ken started with his plan. First stop was the hardware store to get a lock for the bedroom door. That door would stay locked until he said so. Later, he tried to relax at the driving range, hitting golf balls, but his swing was off and he couldn't hit well, making him more upset. On his way home, Ken grabbed a pizza from the shop near his place. He hardly ever got to eat stuff like that because Jennifer watched her diet closely. The night dragged on, lonely and long. He thought getting back at her would feel good, but it didn't. A deep sadness hit him as he wondered what was next. Divorce. Did she even guess what he was thinking? Does she know how shaky things are between us right now? He hoped he wouldn't find out his wife was with someone else, because that would be the end. He couldn't deal with cheating. He shook his head, worried as he went to try and sleep again after a night of tossing and turning. Ken struggled to get started on Sunday morning, even after a hot shower, feeling down. After eating, he put his golf stuff and a bag for the night in his car, and also hung up a suit. Then he locked the bedroom and left. "Hey, pal," shouted Jack, driving up in a golf cart. "Man, you still look sad. You sure you're okay?" he asked, pulling up to move his golf clubs to the cart. "Jin and I had a bit of a fight is all. It's not the end of the world," said Ken, fixing his clubs on the cart. Jack peeked into the trunk before closing it and saw the suit. "Are you leaving her?" he asked, looking concerned. "No, not really, just need a break for a night." Let's go, he said, dropping the subject. Did they find someone else to play? Well, kind of. What do you mean? They either did or didn't. They found a person, said Jack. Ken gave him a look, thinking over what his friend said. No, the fourth player is a woman. Yeah, her name's Tara, and she plays really well in the low 80s. So get ready, or I'll have to tell everyone at work a lady beat you. Jennifer was packing her suitcase in the car. She never thought it would happen, but something made her feel a pull that began when she was still in school. But at what price? She knew her man did not reply when she said she loved him on the phone, yet the hope for the weekend made her less scared, more pumped. Now that it was done, fear was all she had. She skipped breakfast and wanted to grab something, but felt she needed to hurry home. She wanted to be there for him when Ken got back from playing golf. She aimed to fix things right away. Her heart raced with worry as she drove faster. By the time she arrived, she had the night planned out in her mind. They had 2 small hens in the freeze that could thaw fast in hot water. She remembered they had her man's top white drink for the meal. While dinner cooked, she'd wear her hottest outfit, the black tight top with holders for the black long socks. He always liked seeing her in that. After eating, she would give in to him in a way she never did before. She had never let anyone, even Ken, be with her like that. Yes, she thought. I'll make sure he knows he's my only one. After tonight, he'll start to forgive me, and no more secrets ever. I'll make him feel like a king because that's what he is, despite it being so hot outside. She felt cold as she stepped into the house. It used to feel so cozy and warm, but now it felt empty and cold. She put down her bag and saw the lamp was gone from the table. Jennifer looked around and noticed Ken's loved painting was gone too. Her eyes traced the scratch on the wall, down to the broken bits of what was missing. She gasped and covered her mouth quickly. Her worry grew when she thought Ken might have hurled the lamp at the wall, hitting the artwork. "What have I done?" she murmured. It was rare for Ken to lose his cool like this. Never had she seen him so mad that he'd throw things. She shook as she started to grasp the pain she had caused her kind husband. Just 3 hours before, she felt okay with her choice. Now, guilt filled her. Tears fell as Jennifer went to look at the costly watercolor. The picture was okay, but it needed a new frame. She decided she would fix it on Monday and surprise him when he got back from work. She carefully picked up and tossed out the broken lamp bits, then cleaned up the rest with a vacuum. She checked the time. It was already 2:00 p.m. She knew he'd be home soon, and she hadn't even begun to defrost the birds yet. Pushing her feelings aside, Jen took a deep breath and went to the kitchen. She planned to make up for her actions with his favorite meal and a cozy night in. After putting the hens in warm water, Jennifer went back to the hall, grabbed her suitcase, and went upstairs. She was eager to soak in a bath with her favorite oil, the one Ken found so alluring. As she reached the top of the stairs, Jen was shocked to find their bedroom door closed. She noticed the lock just as she tried turning the knob, but it took a moment for her to understand why the door wouldn't open. Then it dawned on her. "My God," she thought, "he's locked me out of our bedroom." Turning, she saw her clothes on the guest room bed. Panic rose in her chest as she slowly entered the room, usually kept for rare visitors. She plopped down on the bed and stared at the drawer of clothes on the floor. "It's not here," she thought. The corset she wanted to wear was in another drawer, and she couldn't even get into their room to grab it. Her mind raced back to all the hints she missed. The lamp that broke, his cold goodbye on the phone, the look on his face when she talked about her job. All the clues were there. She just missed them. Suddenly, she felt a wave of guilt, shame, and regret. She covered her face with her hands and started crying loud. "Oh no! Did I ruin my marriage?" she yelled. The sad woman curled up on the guest bed. Crying shook her whole body as tears kept coming. She knew he was upset. He said so, but she didn't know just how much or how angry he was. She cried, thinking of ways to say sorry. Then, her tears stopped. Jen slowly snapped back to the present. She looked at the clock. Lost in her guilt, she didn't notice time passing. An hour gone. Where is he? She wondered. He should be back by now. She felt drained. Her body felt heavy and tired. But feeling time was short, Jen wiped her tears and went to the kitchen to make dinner. She seasoned the hens, put them to cook, and set the table with candles. She looked at the clock. It was past 4. Where was he? He's never this late from golf. Then a scary thought hit her. What if he locked the bedroom to hide his stuff was gone? What if he left? Oh no, she thought. No, he wouldn't just leave, not without saying something. No, he couldn't do that. Her body shook. Panic hit her again since she got back home. She sat on the couch, tears coming again, but she kept thinking her kind man wouldn't just leave her. Not like this, not without talking first. It took her a bit, but she thought Ken was just out with friends having a beer and he'd be back soon. Okay, she thought. I can't wear my tight dress, but there's some hot stuff in my drawer. With new hope, she got ready to make things right. Ken's lovely wife ran upstairs, took a fast shower, didn't watch the clock as she put on makeup, then pulled on the sexiest undies she found. She wore a robe, got back to the kitchen just in time to take out the small birds and laid the table. She wouldn't think he'd miss it, lit candles and sat by his empty chair. A tear fell as she sat alone, the big clock going ding 6 times. Jennifer never felt so alone. She had to face it. Her big night was not happening. She didn't call him wanting to surprise him, but now felt she must. Jen took a big breath and made herself grab the phone. She was so scared of what he might say. Her hand shook as she hit the home numbers. Ken was about to go to the local Denny's for a meal when his phone rang. He saw it was from home. He was ready for this. To be honest, he thought it had happened sooner. Hello? Ken said, feeling nothing. Babe, it's me, she said, soft from the other end. This is Ken, he said, sharp. Jen felt worse hearing him talk, but she didn't want to show it. I just thought when I cooked tiny chickens for dinner, love. I wondered when you'd be back. Good question. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe next week? Not sure. Love, please come back. I'm sorry. I know I hurt you. Let me fix it. Please let me make it right. And how will you do that, Jen? How will you clear the doubts and worries I've had all weekend? I tried thinking of every reason why you can't tell me where you were, and it always ends with one thing. You were with another guy. It's the only thing that fits, Jen. It's the only thing, my dear, please, trust me. What I did was a dream of mine since I was young. It was something I had to do. I just can't tell you what it was. Please, dear, please come back. I will make it right, I promise. I'll do whatever it takes. Love, please. He heard her start to cry. He had no proof she was with someone, and hearing her cry pulled at his heart. But he was set on making her feel how he felt. I might come back tomorrow after work, he said strongly. Love, won't you come back now, please? No, I can't. Okay, she said between sobs. Can I ask where you are? No. If I don't need to know where you were, you don't need to know where I am or who I'm with. Jen felt even worse hearing those last 4 words. Almost sick. She held it back and had to swallow before she could talk again. Kin, are you with a woman? Love, please don't. I didn't say I was with a woman, but if I can't ask questions, neither can you. Kin, that's not fair. You said we wouldn't ask. You said I could go. Please, come back so we can forget this weekend. Jen, listen, I felt terrible all weekend wondering if you were with another man. I've never felt so mad or hurt. It's going to take a long, long time to let it go. For now, I don't want any makeup tries. I don't want you close to me. I don't even want you near unless we must. That's why I locked our room. You'll sleep in the other room until I say so. Ken heard Jennifer cry as he hung up. He was mixed up with feelings. Why did she do this? It's not like her. Was her trip really okay? He'd feel bad if it was. That thought kept him awake again. Okay, I need the truth. What's going on with you and Jennifer? Jack asked as he came into Quinn's office and shut the door. Ken stopped staring at his work. Jack sat down and looked straight at him. First, I see a bag and a suit in your car, then you lose at golf to Terabyte and even me, and Smitty nearly won. Something's big wrong, and it's not good to keep it in. So, out with it. As hard as it was, maybe Jack was right. Maybe he should talk. Jack, do you trust Marge? Of course. What if she left for the weekend and wouldn't say where or with who? I'd know it's her brothers. Jack said, grinning. I can't stand him. Be serious, Jack. That's just what Jennifer did to me. She wanted my okay to go out for the weekend, but didn't want me to ask where or what for. She has a brother who's a good dude, with a wife and kids. No, there's just one reason I can think of for all this secret stuff. She's with another guy. Ken. No way. There's no way Jen would go behind your back. You know her better. Really? Do I? All right then, tell me. What else could it be? Can you think of any other reason she'd head out like that? Because I sure can't. Did she drop any hints? Anything at all? All she said was it was something she had to do. It was about some dream from when she was a kid. And that makes you think she was with another guy? How many young girls dream about being with some guy? It's probably something she feels shy about, and she just doesn't want to say, that's all. Ken looked down, thinking, but then spoke up quick. I can't believe something from when she was little would mean so much that she'd do it even though it would upset me. Okay. Jack said if she was seeing a guy, why not just lie and say she had to see a sick friend or something? I mean, if you're going to cheat, wouldn't you try to not make people suspicious and come up with a good story? Ken had to agree Jack had a point. He'd thought of that too, and couldn't get why she didn't just make up a good lie. Jack kept going. Look, buddy, we've all been tight for so long. Your wife and mine are super close. If Jen was stepping out on you, Marge would know. No doubt about that. And no doubt Marge would tell me. And as far as I'm aware, Jen hasn't even glanced at another man. No, whatever she's doing, I'm sure it's not cheating. I don't know, said Ken, still not fully convinced. Maybe you're right. I really hope so. If I find out she's been with another guy, it's over for us. Come on, dude. Jen adores you. Trust me, Jen wasn't messing around. She wouldn't hurt you like that. Jack got up and headed for the door, giving Ken a last look. Go back to her, man. Go back to your lovely wife. Forget this weekend. Whatever she did, she's just too shy to share it, that's all. Oh, and our buddy said she had a blast and wants to join us again. Cool, right? Yep. She might think twice after I beat her next time, though. I was off my game yesterday, but no chance she tops me when I'm on it, Ken said with a grin. All right, pal, you're on. Catch you later. He paused before leaving. You know, some ladies like that sort of thing. Like what? Getting spanked, he said, laughing. As the day went on, Jack's words echoed in Ken's mind. He cherished his wife. He hoped it was like his mate said. She was just too embarrassed to speak up. The front door clicked shut behind him. Ken dropped his work bag and headed upstairs to change into something comfier. He didn't see or hear his wife until he returned to the living room. There she was on the sofa, her cheeks marked with tear lines. She held a damp, dirty tissue, her hands trembling in her lap. Her voice was faint and scratchy from crying. Don't you, she sniffled, not looking up. Don't you care for me anymore? She asked, scared of what he might say. Jen, if I stopped caring, your stuff would be outside, not in the spare room. She finally looked at him, and he saw how red and swollen her eyes were. I'm so sorry, love, she sobbed. I'm so sorry I caused you pain. I didn't see it. I didn't know. Sweetie, please forgive me. She begged before she brought the old hanky to her nose and started to cry again. Jennifer, if only you... She cut him off, too worried to let him finish. Please, I didn't... It wasn't about being with another guy, she rushed to say. Not at all. Love, you must trust me. I didn't cheat. Her words caught him off guard. Then why? Why make me suffer all weekend like that? Damn it, Jen, I can't grasp it. Why not tell me before you went? You knew what I'd think. The hurt I felt thinking of you with someone else. Why leave, making me think that if it wasn't true? Jen, how do I trust you now after all this? Please, love, I am being honest. She wept. Truly, Ken, you must trust me. Ken looked at his wife as her words sank in. She did seem honest. Jen, I'm lost here. Love, trust me. I said nothing before I left because I didn't want your questions. And I thought the best way to dodge them was to keep quiet. Truth is, it wasn't as great as I hoped. The dream was way better than what happened, but I had to do it. Something. Yeah, right, Ken said, not hiding his hurt. Something you've dreamed of since you were young. You said so. That's part of the sting, Jen. You left me out of something big to you. We've shared our lives for 8 years. I've always let you into mine, and it stung to feel you didn't do the same. Then I wondered if this was just the start. What else would you keep from me? I know, she cried. I'm so sorry, love. I didn't see it like that. It was careless of me. I didn't know it would hurt you this much. Yeah, me neither. It got to me when I said you could leave, hoping you'd stay instead. When you actually went away, just thinking you were cutting me off from a big part of your life hurt. But thinking you might meet an old flame hurt even more. I kept telling myself you wouldn't cheat on me. yet I couldn't shake off that thought. She looked down. I thought you trusted me more, she said softly. Jen, trust is one thing, but what you did last weekend is something else. It's like needing to see to believe. What did Reagan say? Trust, but check. But I can't check. Jennifer cried harder. Ken was still upset, but knowing she wasn't with another man made him feel a bit better. He couldn't stay mad forever. After all, he loved her. He sat next to her and wrapped his arm around her. Jen hid her face in his chest and hugged him. Okay, calm down, he said softly as he patted her back. As far as I'm concerned, you didn't do anything bad, but I need time to get over this. He felt her head nod against him. She got it, but didn't say more. I think it's still best if we sleep apart for now. That made her cry louder and she held him tighter. Please, please don't say I have to sleep without you again. I'm sorry, Jen, he said, but it's how it must be, just for a bit. They stayed like that a bit more before Jennifer went to get dinner ready. She looked so sad and low, her spirit crushed for the rest of the night. It wasn't just for show. She truly felt down. As Ken heard his wife of 8 years quietly crying from another room, he couldn't help but miss her next to him. So, how did things go yesterday? Jack asked, sitting in the same spot as before. Well, better than I thought. She at least said she wasn't with someone else. Do you believe her? I'm not sure. I really want to. Why don't you? Ken threw the question back at his friend, who looked rather smug. Of course. I was the one who said she wouldn't cheat from the start, remember? So, things are fine now? Not really. I'm still mad. I've got her staying in another room for a bit so I can cool down, Ken shared. I get that. Honestly, if Marge did something similar, she'd be in that room too. Last night when I got home, I asked her if she knew anything about Jen's secret weekend. She thought it was about something from her high school days. Something she missed out on. Something or some guy, Ken asked sharply. No, something, Jack said, trying to reassure with a careful smile. It seems Jen didn't say much, but Marge is sure it wasn't about going off with some guy. She doesn't think Jen would cheat on you, no more than I do. Yeah, that's what everyone thinks, Ken replied, leaning back, allowing a small, relieved smile. To be honest, I don't think she would either. I'll take your advice and try to let it go. Despite all my worries over the weekend, I just can't see her cheating. Okay then, Jack said, shifting a bit and leaning in closer. Not to change the subject, but Arnie's wife called and he won't be able to join us for golf next Sunday either. Again? Ken looked shocked. What's up? It's not like him to miss twice. Maybe his back hurts him. Linda said he couldn't work all week. He's seeing the doc Thursday. Man, I hope it's not bad. Yeah, hope so too. Hey, now that you're listening, want to try with Tara again? I was thinking of calling her to see if she can step in. You seem to like her, Jack. You think you two got something going? Ken joked. Me? Jack shot back. You're the one she was all sweet with for the whole game. Nah, she just wanted to distract me so she could win. She's going to be surprised this time. Jack smiled big. You're telling me you didn't see that cute shake she does before she hits the ball? You mean how she shakes her butt? Ken joked. I'm not blind, pal. Sure, I saw, but it won't help her win. Not this time. Well, we'll see. I think she's just warming up. Ken felt better after Jack left his office. He tried to stop feeling jealous or worried, and tried to see it all clear. In 8 years, he never saw his wife flirt with anyone else. Their love life was good and she seemed happy. People who knew her said she loved and was loyal to him. No. When he thought about it, all the signs were good for her. All right, he told himself, if I keep flipping like this, I'll go nuts. I let her go because I did trust her. I only started to doubt when she left, thinking she was meeting someone else. There's no proof of that. Up until this past weekend, I had no reason not to trust her. As far as I knew, she never lied to me. So when she says she wasn't with another guy, why should I not believe her? I have no reason, none at all. Ken got up and walked to the window. He worked for a phone company in a suburb to the northwest of Chicago. His office was up on the 5th floor. From there, he could see the big buildings downtown. The view always made him feel lucky. He thought about how much sadness and pain was out there. His parents made sure he got a good education. He had a great job that gave him a nice life. He had a loving wife and good friends. Yes, he was very lucky. He loved her too. Without really knowing it, he was convincing himself to forgive her. Ken decided then and there. He went back to his desk. It was done. He would always wonder about what she did or didn't do, and he would never forget how bad he felt. But for now, no more blaming. He would let his wife back into their bedroom and try to move on. He felt a load lift off as he sat down and saw all the work waiting for him. He wanted things to be normal again. He was done with guessing about what she might have done. He wished for his loving and loyal wife, Betty, to be back. He called his secretary on the phone. "Can you bring some coffee and help me sort through some things, please?" "Sure, Ken," she said. By day's end, Ken and Betty were caught up, and for the first time in almost a week, he was driving home feeling happy. Jennifer, having no idea about her husband's new mood, had fallen deeper into sadness. Her attempts to make things right with her man had crashed because of his anger and distrust. After doing the morning work and fixing the beds, Jen sat down, trying to think of a way to show her husband her love when the phone rang. Her voice was rough. "Hello?" There was a pause. "Boy, you sound bad." "Hi, Marge." Her voice, knowing it was her good friend. "Yeah, I know. I've been sick. Is this about your strange weekend?" "Yeah." She tried to laugh. "You could say that. I guess Ken talked to Jack." "And he told you, right?" said her friend. "Now what happened? Where did you go? Did he have a big tool?" The last question made Jen mad. "Hey, Marge, how dare you? There was no tool. I was not with some guy." Okay, sorry. I was joking. I know you wouldn't hurt Ken." She calmed down then. "Where did you go?" "I can't say, Marge. I can't tell anyone. I'm sorry, but it's my secret." There was silence again. "Jen, I'm your best friend. If you can't tell me, who can you tell?" "That's it, Marge. I can't tell anyone." "Wow, now I get a bit how your husband feels. Marge, please don't make me feel worse. If I could tell you, I would. I would tell Ken, but I just can't. This is something I will keep to myself." "I can't tell," she said, starting to cry again. Okay, dear, don't cry. I'm sorry for pushing." Did Jen sniffed a bit before she could speak again? "Did Jack tell you what Ken plans to do? Is he going to leave me?" "Dear, I don't know, but I think not. Jack says Ken's very mad, but he said nothing about leaving you." "Marge, what if he does? I don't think I can be without him." "Jen, don't think that. Ken loves you. I don't think he'll leave you. Not for this. You didn't really mess up, right?" Jen didn't answer. "You haven't seen him, Marge. He was so mad. He threw the hall light against the wall and hit his favorite art piece." "Wow, that sounds bad," Marge said, a bit shocked. "Yeah, I've never seen him so mad. The light broke, but the art was fine. Just the frame broke. I got it fixed. It's been back up since yesterday, but Ken didn't seem to notice. Or if he did, he didn't talk about it. He's even keeping me out of our room. Yeah, I heard you, Jen. I think he'll get over it. Just wait. Be careful, Marge. I really hope so. If I knew it would make him this mad, I wouldn't have done it. For sure. Won't do it again. Are you joking? Never. Now all I want is to be the best wife. No more saying I've got a headache or I'm not in the mood tonight. I just hope it's not too late. I won't ask what you did, but after all this, was it worth it?" Jen paused, then told her friend. "No, not at all. I should have kept it a fantasy. It was a letdown and not something I'd try again. Yeah, I see. All I thought about coming home was how I'd make it right with my loving husband." Then she had to stop. She was crying again. "Jen, I'm so sorry. Stay strong, dear. Just show Ken you love him a lot. I'm sure you guys will be okay. Thanks, Marge." They talked a bit more, but in the end, Jen still didn't know if her marriage would last. That night, when Ken got home, he didn't go straight upstairs like usual. He put his work bag down in the hall and walked into the living room. Jennifer was in the kitchen making dinner and hadn't heard him arrive. She got scared when she heard him say her name. "Jen, can you come out here for a sec? Let's chat." She stepped into the living room like she was in big trouble. She had no clue what he wanted. Was their marriage over? "Jen, come sit," he said, taking a seat on the couch and tapping the spot next to him. "We gotta talk." She felt tears come again as she sat down. "It's okay, no need for tears," Ken said, looking at her. "I've made up my mind to forget this mess, dear." She lit up with happiness. She hugged him tight, so much he almost couldn't breathe. "Thank you, love. Are you all right?" He had to gently break her hug to breathe. Listen, I don't want you trying to fix everything. You can't undo the hard time I had. No matter what, I can't forget last weekend," he said seriously, "but I still love you a lot. And without proof you did wrong, I trust you, honey." She hugged him again, kissing his face. "I won't ever mess up like that again." "You better not," he cut in. "First, I won't say yes like I did before. If you try anything like that without my okay, it's over for us. It doesn't matter how much it means to you. Don't even think about it," he said firmly. She hugged him again. "Ken, I love you so much. No, my dear, I promise I won't ask for that again, ever." A small smile spread across his face as he wrapped his arm around her head, pulling her close. It felt right to take her sorry. It felt right to let her in again, close to his heart. She almost didn't dare to ask. "Can I come back to our room?" "Yes, I'll help you move your stuff back after dinner," he said. "Now, I'm off to change." Jennifer watched the man she loved head to the stairs. She had never felt such relief. It was like someone had made her heart beat again after it was still for so long. She didn't mind what he said. She was set on making it right for her secret trip. Later, in bed, he wasn't sure he wanted to be close in that way with Jen yet. He knew what she wanted. He could feel her need as she wrapped her arm around him and snuggled close. "I love you," she breathed. "I love you so much." Ken turned to look in her eyes. "I love you too, Jen. I'm just not there yet. Please, I need you," she begged. "I need to feel we're all right again. Please," she said, kissing him gently. He felt her kiss become eager, her body pressing close. He grabbed her hair and kissed her back with hunger. Ken felt his body respond. She smiled, looking into his eyes. "I love you so much," she said. Ken moved over her. He knew how to make her feel joy. He knew the spots that made her shiver with delight. Jen tensed, feeling waves of joy. They mixed, one after another, far off. She heard his deep sounds of love. She felt him tighten. He was close to bursting, too. It was a night full of heat, of lighting up what both thought they had lost. At last, Ken fell next to his wife and shut his eyes to catch his breath. He felt his wife breathing hard, too, as she snuggled into him. The next day at work, everyone, Jack too, saw the change. Ken's happy look gave it away. "You fixed things with Jen, huh?" Jack guessed. "Yeah," Ken said. "Took your tip, went home and got close. Thanks, man." Jack grinned and gave him a pat. "Told you I help," he chuckled. "Think she'll let you out on Saturday? We should go hit some balls." "I need it," he added with a laugh. "Sure, I'll see you at the range at 2. "All right, I'll be there," Jack said. For the rest of the week, all went Ken's way. At home, Jen was sweeter than ever. Ken knew she was trying to fix things, but why not? He was enjoying it. Luck was on his side at work, too. Suddenly, a big client he'd chased for 2 years signed a huge deal. It would bring in almost $2 million a year for the company, and a bonus for him. By Sunday's golf, Ken felt on top of the world. "Ready to lose?" Tara teased with a wide smile. "She's trying to mess with me," Ken thought. "Not this time." "Watch out, young lady, you'll be the one asking for mercy when we hit the back 9, he shot back. And he was right. By the 10th tee, Ken led Tara by 4 strokes and Jack and Smitty by 8. After the final hole, Ken could hardly hide his joy after beating everyone with one of his top golf games. As they moved to the lounge, Tara said she'd buy the drinks. "I know when I've met my match," she joked as they sat down. "All hail the golf master," she added, pretending to pray and bowing. This made everyone laugh. "Ken, that was one of your best games," Jack said. "I'm amazed you still had energy to play so well after making up," Jack teased. Ken felt a bit uneasy. This is why he kept his private life private. It always seemed to become everyone's business. "Let's not talk about my personal stuff," Ken said, a bit annoyed. "Sorry," Jack said, looking down. "So that's the secret?" Tara joked. "If only I had someone for that. My divorce changed things," she added. The guys didn't know what to say. "Tara, it's hard to believe you're single, with how you are and look," Ken said. "Thanks, but with long work hours and 2 kids, I barely have time for golf on Sundays," she replied with a light laugh. "Wow, you play so well. I thought golf was all you did." "How'd you learn?" Smitty asked. "My ex-husband is a pro. Not famous, but he teaches at 7 Winds Country Club," Tara explained. Your ex is Tony Blakely? Ken was surprised. Yeah. Do you know him? A bit. I've had some lessons from him, Ken said. So I guess I helped with your divorce in a way? That made everyone laugh. Then Ken shifted the topic. Has anyone checked on Arnie? I tried calling but got no reply. I spoke to Linda on Friday. Last Thursday he got an MRI and some blood tests done, but we won't know what they say until tomorrow, Jack said. Darn, Smitty jumped back in. No mean feelings, Tara, but the four of us have been teaming up for a long while. I really hope he can join us next week. Me too, Ken added. Tara nodded, showing she got it. I get it, guys. She lifted her glass. Here's to Arnie. Hope he's back with you all feeling good next week. To Arnie, they all said, touching their glasses together. The next day, Jack walked into Ken's office, looking a bit off. Ken watched him come in and sit in his usual seat. He just looked down for a bit. Ken figured they were waiting to hear about their golf buddy, and by the look on his friend, it wasn't good news. Arnie? Ken asked. Jack nodded. It's cancer, he shared. Arnie has a bad cyst at the bottom of his spine. They're going to cut it out the day after tomorrow. Then he needs chemo and radiation. Linda's really upset. She was almost too shaken to talk on the phone. How's he doing? Will he be okay? I don't know, Jack answered. Linda was so torn up I didn't push for more info. Darn. Which hospital is he in? Statewide. I think Jack tried to recall his talk with Arnie's wife until he was sure. Yeah, statewide. I'll head there after work. You coming? For sure, Ken said. Did you tell Smitty yet? He might want to come too. Good point. I'll call him from my office. See you later, he said, getting up and heading out. Okay if I call some folks too? Looks like Arnie won't be playing with us this year. Yeah, that's fine, Ken said, clearly more worried about his friend's well-being than who would take his place as soon as Jack left. Ken called his wife, said what was up, and shared he'd be late since his pals just walked in. Seeing them made him smile for the first time in days. Linda, his wife, was there and said hi to the golf friends warmly. For 2 hours, they all chatted and laughed. Even Linda cracked a smile a few times. When leaving, they all said they thought Ken would be back on his feet soon. It was 3 days after his surgery. When they saw him next, he looked really bad, and Ken wondered if he'd make it. His wife told him the docs were hopeful, but it'd be a hard journey. The pals saw how much Linda cared for him. He was lucky. The next Sunday, Tara got asked to join the golf group, at least till Arnie could come back. Deep down, they doubted if he'd play again. Tara, sad about the reason, was happy to join. Over weeks, Tara fit right in and didn't skip a Sunday. They even teased her about playing when it was super cold. They joked about it, calling it playing with blue balls. Jack teased, "You gonna join us when it's freezing?" Tara shot back, "I'll never miss a chance to win against you on the field. You know that." Time went by, but their friend wasn't getting better. Many times the pals visited him. Weeks after the surgery with chemo and radiation, he was still too weak for work. After seeing him last, Ken told Jen how worn out Linda looked. This was all hitting his wife hard. Jen didn't really know Linda that well. They hadn't seen each other much, but Arnie was a close mate of her man and she felt she needed to do something. "Honey, do you think she'd be okay with some help? Maybe I can get Marge to come with me and we could help her with shopping or cleaning. Anything to give her more time with Arnie and maybe some rest. Honey, that sounds like a great plan." "I'm sure Linda would like the help," he said, holding her close and kissing her head. She rested on his chest, feeling safe. She shivered, imagining being in Linda's place. "I love you. You know that?" she asked. Ken hugged her tighter. "I know," he said. The next day, after tidying and taking out 2 steaks to soak, Jen called her friend. "Hello?" Marge picked up. "Hi, Marge. How are you?" "Hey, friend. Good you? Things settling down?" "To be honest, I don't know if they ever will. He's trying, but I hurt him a lot. He acts like it's okay now. But I see he's not, especially when he thinks about that weekend. Sometimes it's like he stops himself from saying things, or I catch him just staring off with a sad look. When I ask if he's okay, he says yes, then walks away. And sometimes he's just not as close in bed as before. Keep strong, dear, you're right. He's hurt and it will take time for him to truly forgive. Just give him space." "I really hope so. Marge, I'm doing all I can. I keep the place clean, cook what he loves, and I'm there for him in bed. I'm trying so hard. I know you are, sweetie. Maybe you're trying too hard." Is it because you love him or feel bad? Jen was taken aback by that question. She didn't speak at first. After a bit of quiet, Marge spoke up again. Yeah, I'm here, she said. Just needed a sec to think. Both, I guess. I'm not sure. To be honest, I do feel bad. Really bad for hurting him like that, said Marge. That might be it. Ken's smart. Maybe he feels that you're doing all this because you feel bad. Deep down, he might think. If she feels so bad, did she do something wrong? But I did do wrong. I hurt my man. Maybe you gotta sit with him and say that's why you've been trying to make it up to him, because you feel bad for hurting him, not for what you did while you were away. You know, you might be on to something. He told me not to go out of my way to try and fix things, but I didn't listen. I'll stop trying so hard, said Marge. If you want it to feel normal again, you gotta act normal. Ken probably likes all the fuss, but it also reminds him, I think you should chill and let things be like they were before you left for the weekend. Jen thought about her friend's words. They seemed smart. You're right, Marge, that's really smart. Thanks. Starting tonight, I'm gonna stop trying so hard and just be me again. She was about to switch the topic to some local news when she remembered why she called. Marge, you know Linda Baskin? Her man Ernie golfs with Ken and Jack. Only met her twice, Marge said. I think you know Arnie's sick with cancer. That's really hard. Yeah, that's why I called. Ken's really upset about it. He said Linda could use some help at home. You know, cleaning, washing clothes, buying stuff, and other things like that. I thought we could go and lend a hand. Marge cut in. Yeah, what do you think? Sure, it sounds like a good plan. Maybe. What's her name? Smitty's wife might want to come too. Oh yeah. What is her name? Jen thought. Darlene, I guess. Yeah, that sounds right. Funny, Jack barely talks about Smitty now. All I get is Tara, this and that. If I didn't know any better, I'd think he was with her. Marge, that's a bad thing to say. You should feel bad. You know Jack wouldn't do that to you? I know. But when he comes home, it's always Tara this and Tara that. Every week? Jen asked, a bit shocked. You mean she's with them every week? Yeah. Didn't you know? She's filling in for Arnie until he can come back. Ken didn't tell you? No. I thought she just stepped in a few times, not all the time. Yeah, she's been playing with them all summer. Have you seen her? Is she pretty? Jen was curious. Yes and yes. I saw her once when my car was being fixed, and I dropped Jack off at the golf place last month. She was near the driving range talking to Ken. She has long blonde hair and a great body. Nice face, too. Jack said her ex-husband, who's a pro golfer, taught her how to play. He teaches at one of the golf places here. Anyway, I have to go, dear. Jack will be home soon, and I haven't started dinner. Do you want to ask Darlene to help or just us? Jen's mind was elsewhere and missed the end of what her friend asked. I think we should ask her. The more, the better, Jen said. I'll try to get her number from Kevin tonight. I'll call her tomorrow and see. The friend said bye and hung up, not realizing it. Jen was about to feel what her husband did. She went to the kitchen, got some coffee, and sat down. She thought about what her friend said about Tara. So she has an ex. Why didn't Ken tell me? She wondered. She tried not to think bad things, but a worry started growing inside her. Ken would never cheat. But what if he thought I did? No, he wouldn't. She pushed away thoughts of him with another woman and told herself off for even thinking it. She had more coffee and remembered the last few times Ken didn't want to be close. How often did that happen in our 8 years together? She thought. And he's been so quiet. Maybe those looks weren't about that weekend. Maybe he was thinking of her, his old girlfriend. Stop. Stop it now, she told herself out loud. Why think he's cheating? Stop it. Jen tried to think of something else, but it was hard. Later, at dinner with Ken, she had to talk about it. I talked about helping Linda and Arnie. She likes the idea. Good. I think that's nice of you guys, he said, smiling. Yeah, you've played golf with Arnie for a while. I should get to know them better. Let's ask Darlene to join, she said. Ken looked confused. Darlene? Who's Darlene? Smitty's wife. Isn't that her name? Marlene. It's Marlene. He laughed. You were close. She knew it was a kind of player, she joked. Got their number? I want to call her tomorrow, see if she's up for going with me. Yep, it's on my computer. Their last name is Dennison, she said. Okay, it's now or never, she thought. Marge told me. That lady Tara has been playing every week with you all. Why didn't you tell me? What's there to say? She's been stepping in for Arnie. Pretty sure I mentioned it. You said the pro shop put a woman on your team, but never said she played every week with you all. Marge said she's real pretty. Ken looked at his wife closely. He knew that look. It was clear. It was the pain and doubt he saw in himself a while ago. Quick, he thought about his next move. Should he lead her on? Make her learn? But just as fast, he dropped the idea. It'd be small. Yes, love, Tara is pretty. She works a lot and has 2 kids. She hardly finds time to play every Sunday. So if you're thinking there's something more between us, there isn't. Honey, you know me better. I never thought that, she said. Not really sure? Sure, Ken said. It was mid-November when winter hit Chicago hard. The first big snow ended golf for months. When the holidays came around, Jen's worry was long gone. She took her friend's advice and stopped trying so hard, but she always showed her husband love. In February, a cold wave hit. Ken was still cold after lunch when he heard his secretary. Ken, Mr. Spitzer wants you, she said. Okay, Betty, thanks. Mr. Spitzer was the top guy in sales, and his boss was nice, but all about work. When Ken walked into his boss's big office, he saw him smile in a way he seldom did. Take a seat, Ken, his boss said, smiling even more. Ken sat in one of the soft leather chairs in front of the big wood desk. Ken, you might not know this, but you're doing great this year. You've gotten your bonus for the quarter, and it's just February. Thanks, Mr. Spitzer. I didn't know that. He said it in a low-key way. We want to thank you. I know you love golf, and with all the snow outside, I got you a little trip on us, he said, pushing an envelope across his desk. Ken opened the envelope and couldn't believe his eyes. Wow, he said. A golf trip to Hilton Head? For me and 3 pals and all paid for? Yes. And I thought you'd take Jack. It's for a 3-day weekend, so I've made sure you and him can get a Friday off. Just tell me which weekend. Ken thanked his boss a lot. Back in his office, he called Jack to tell him the great news. Okay, Jack said all in. We gotta call Smitty and find a Friday he can take off. As Ken got his phone, Jack thought hard. Who else? He mused. Arnie can't yet. Maybe Tara? What do you think? Might be tough. She's always busy, Ken said, dialing. But let's try. He called Smitty's work number and shared the plan. Sadly, Smitty couldn't make it. He had no time off left. Ken and Jack were shocked he'd miss out on such a fun trip, but he was stuck until later in the year. He couldn't skip work without losing pay. Plus, he said the costs right after Christmas were too high. I just can't do it. I told Marlene I was off to play golf for 3 days. She'd be mad. Sorry, guys. Dang, Jack said when Ken hung up. Now what? Ken went through his phone list. I'll call Tara. Let's see if she can join. And if not, it might just be you and me, buddy. Tara was shocked to hear from Ken. They hadn't chatted in nearly 3 months, and she didn't expect a call for another month. She was excited about the trip idea. She had enough sick days saved. She was sure her ex would take the kids for a bit, or her folks would watch them. When Ken said Smitty couldn't come and it would be them 3, she had an idea. Do you mind if another lady joins us? She asked. Who is she and can she play? It's my sister Laura. She's in Atlanta, and yes, she's good at it. I need to check if she's free, but she's got a busy job. I think she can get time off. The only issue is she has 2 kids and a hubby. I'll call her quick and see if she can make it. Wait a sec, Tara. Let me ask Jack, Ken said. He covered the phone and checked with his friend. Why does it always end up a woman when we need a 4th? Jack joked. Guess we're just lucky, Ken joked back. If she's anything like Tara, then sure, let her come. Ken laughed, then told Tara, go ahead and call your sister. An hour later, Tara had news. Her sister would meet them at Hilton Head. Ken was floating on cloud 9 when he got home that night. But Jen wasn't so happy to hear the news. You're leaving town for 3 days with Tara? Yes, he said like it was nothing. Her sister's gonna join us there. Her sister. When did all this come up? Who is her sister? You've never talked about her before. That's 'cause I've never met her. She's from Atlanta. Let me get this straight. You and Jack are gonna spend 3 days and nights with Tara and her sister at a resort? Over my dead body, she said madly. You're crazy if you think I'll stay home while you go off having fun with your girlfriend for— Enough, Ken shouted, cutting off his wife's angry words. I don't want to hear more about it. Tara is not my girlfriend. Where are you getting this from? We're going there to play golf, not mess around. Jen saw his face go red with anger. You went off for a weekend and wouldn't tell me where you were, what you were doing, or who with. I had to deal with it, so you can deal with this now. That was different. You said I could go. You didn't really give me a choice, right? Remember when I asked if you'd still go if I said no? You weren't sure. You said you'd be really upset with me not trusting you. Well, how do you think I feel? I've never even looked at another woman. I don't know where this mistrust is coming from, but it needs to stop, right now, or we're in for some tough times. With that, Ken left his shocked wife to shower and change. Tears filled her eyes as Jen sat down in a kitchen chair. Darn, she thought, he's still mad. I wish I hadn't gone on that dumb weekend. I almost wrecked my marriage and now it's hitting me again. I really thought he had moved past it. But that wasn't true. It was the first thing he mentioned. The rest of the night was calm. Jen was quiet, but not so much at Ken. She was mad at herself. She was caught off guard when Ken told her about the trip suddenly. She almost said he was going to cheat. She told herself off in her mind. Deep down, she knew Ken wouldn't do that to her, but her worry wouldn't go away. Later in bed, Jen wanted to say sorry. I'm sorry, love. I know you wouldn't cheat. It's just, I know how pretty she is. And the idea of you two in the same hotel for nights, there's just so much chance for wrong steps. Jen, why are you even thinking this? I've gone on trips before and you never worried about me cheating. At least you never said. I know. I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know. I just feel weird. Mar says she's really pretty. And Jen, there are many pretty women out there, some even prettier than you. But you're my wife, the only woman I love, the only woman I want. Always love. She moved his face towards hers gently. She kissed him very softly and stayed like that until they slowly moved apart. I love you so much, she whispered. Ken put his arm around her. She cuddled into his strong hold and quietly fell asleep. The next day, Jen tried to not think about her husband with two pretty women and had almost forgotten it until her phone rang. Hello, love, March said. So did you hear about the guys? Big weekend golf trip. You must be really proud of your man. He must be doing something right. I wish he'd share his trick with Jack. Yeah, Jen said. I heard. She paused, thinking about what her friend just said. What do you mean? Proud of him? So, what's secret? He didn't tell you? This whole golf thing is a bonus? Ken's already hit his sales goal for the quarter. Jack says he's the best at selling to big clients. No, he left that out. Just said he, Jack, and Tara were off to meet her sister for golf over the weekend. Then we had a fight. I sort of shared my worries and he got mad. He brought up that dumb weekend again. I thought he was over it, but guess not. What do you mean you fought? What worries? What's this about? Your man and mine are off to a posh hotel with two pretty ladies for the weekend. Doesn't that bug you? Well, when you say it like that, Marge laughed. No, I'm not bugged, not one bit, I swear. Jen, you've been on edge since that wild trip. First, Ken thought you were up to no good, now you think he is. What's up with you both? I don't know, Marge, you're right. I'm on edge. I can't shake it. I'm scared Ken still thinks I was with another guy on that trip. And I'm scared he might do something dumb to get back at me. Listen to yourself, Jen. Stop it. Ken's not going to do anything dumb with anyone. You know him better. He didn't plan this. It fell into his lap. It was Jack who called Tara, and Smitty dropped out. That's when Tara brought up her sister joining. It's not like Ken set this up. It all happened fast. You should be backing him, not blaming him. Jen sat quiet, thinking on her friend's words. She felt silly, but she couldn't shake the bad feeling. Listen, Marge said. How about we catch a movie Saturday night? It might help you forget for a bit. Thanks, Marge. That's a smart plan. Call me later to decide what to watch. As they said bye, Jen was set on ending her silly acts, to heed her friend's advice and give her man the love and care he deserves. When Ken came home that night, Jen had a candlelit dinner ready for him. A fine wine, a tasty meal, and a caring wife can do a lot for a man's mood. After she cleaned up, Ken wanted to help with the dishes, but she wouldn't let him. Go chill, she said. I'll join you soon. Ken felt a bit bad sitting in the living room, flipping through TV channels while his wife was in the kitchen. But true to her word, she came quickly and snuggled up next to him. He wrapped his arm around her, pulling her close. Without him noticing, Jen started to undo his shirt buttons. What's this for? He asked, pretending to be clueless. Since I won't see you all weekend, she said in her most enticing voice. I need a bit of fun to keep me going. A bit of fun? Is that what you call it? He joked. Ken, she said, pretending to be mad and hitting his arm. Stop that. Well, my bit of fun is growing just thinking about it, she whispered. Seriously? How about we go upstairs and make good use of your big fun? Ken turned off the TV, grabbed his wife's hand, and led the way. The next day, Jen woke up super early and made toast and fresh coffee as Ken got ready for his trip. All set? She asked, walking him to the door. Yep, I've got all I need. I'll be back late Sunday night. Our plane lands at O'Hare around 8:30. Picking up my bags and getting out might mean I'm home by almost 10. She forced a smile. Have fun, she said while fixing his coat buttons. I will. He smiled. All was okay, but she just couldn't let it be. Her worry came back. Just don't have too much fun. Be good, okay? Remember who you're going back to, she said like a warning. Right after she wished she hadn't. Ken's smile vanished. Looking into his eyes, she saw his anger and sadness. His goodbye kiss felt cold. He left without a word, and she watched as Ken put his bags and golf clubs in his car. She saw the morning light as he drove off to the airport. There he is, Ken heard a woman's voice. Our star. Ken saw Tara by Jack. Tara hugged him and kissed him on the cheek. I'm so excited. I've never been to Hilton Head, have you? Never, said Ken. I was there once, Jack added, but that was long ago. They chatted until their flight was called. The plane was not full, so they sat together. Tara took the window seat halfway through. Then, Tara thought of something to ask. Hey, do you guys know where I can find a cheap new phone? Jack and Ken laughed at each other. Ken looked at Tara. You're joking, right? You do know we both work with phones, right? What's wrong with the one you have? The hang-up button sticks. The other day, I tried calling a friend and it went to voicemail. I tried to hang up, but it wouldn't work. I kept pushing the button, but it stayed on. The voicemail went on. I just put the phone in my purse. No idea how long it was on. It's happened a few more times, too. Ken told her not to fret. Once back in Chicago, he'd hook her up with a new phone for way less than store prices. Tara smiled wide. Thanks, guys. Knew you had my back. The rest of the flight was all about golf chat. Landing, Ken grabbed the rental car booked by his work, picked up Tara and Jack, and they were off to their hotel. The air was a warm 68 degrees, a sharp change from the chilly 30s they left in Chicago. They got one room for Jack and Ken, and another for Tara and her sister Laura. They had a short 2 hours before Ken and Tara had to head back to the airport for the last of their group. So they hit the hotel's eat spot for a morning meal. When do we start golf? Tara asked. 1:13, said Ken. Hope Laura's flight's on time, he said. It was going to be close. They were glad to hear Laura's flight was perfect on time when they called from their room. Spotting her at the airport, Ken knew right away she was Tara's sister. They both let out excited screams at seeing each other. Arms wide, Tara moved in as Laura came closer, dropping her bag ready for a hug. Onlookers chuckled at such a show of sister love. After they let go, Tara saw Ken right behind her. Laura, this is Ken, the one I told you about. Ken, with a smile and hand out, said, Not sure what she told you, but don't take it as fact. So you're not the golf greats all in one, Laura joked, smiling. Far from it, he laughed. Good to meet you anyway, Ken. This is all I brought, she said, nodding at her bag. But we need to pick up my clubs from baggage claim. When Laura saw her golf bag slide down the carousel, he grabbed them, lifted her clubs, and they were set for 3 days of fun on big green courses. I told you he was good, Tara said to her sister as they sat to grab a beer and look at their scores. Yeah, you weren't joking. What did you score, Ken? An 84, he said, not making a big deal of it. You did pretty good, too. A 93. Not bad at all. Tara, you and Jack both got 91. Laura, you play a lot like your sister. That makes sense, Tara jumped in. We both learned from the same guy. I thought you were taught by your ex, Jack asked. I was. We both were, Tara replied. Hold on, I know Tony's good, but he's not worth the flight from Atlanta to Chicago just for a lesson. The two sisters laughed. No, I've lived in Chicago all my life, Laura said. Till last year we were just a few blocks apart. Having a pro golfer as a brother-in-law is the next best thing. Free lessons until she stopped, remembering they were talking about her sister's ex-husband. She remembered Tara's pain during the divorce. "I'm sorry," she said, taking her sister's hand. "I didn't mean to bring him up." "It's okay," Tara cut in. "I've moved on." She glanced at Jack and Ken. "After we split, I didn't want his name spoken around me. Our thing ended as he started something new. One day, sick from work, I walked in on them. What a shock." "What did you do?" Jack asked. "I left him, of course, but what did you do right then?" Ken saw Jack was about to mess up and cut in. "Wow, that must have been hard, Tara." She just nodded. "It was. At first, I was so into him. He was thrilling and full of life. He dreamed of competing with the best. After 3 tries, he couldn't make it in Q school. It really hit him hard when he took the teaching job at 7 Winds. He started to not care about much, me included." "I'm sorry," Ken said again. "Me too," Jack added. "But that was a while back." Tara didn't want to talk more about her split. So Ken turned the talk to Laura. "So, why'd you move to Atlanta? I work for Guys and Dolls, a clothes shop. I ran our Chicago store before. Last year they offered me a bigger job, but I had to move to Atlanta." "And your husband?" Jack asked. "Did he just leave his job?" "My husband helps companies work faster and better, making them more money. He mostly works from home, but travels a lot." "So, moving wasn't a big deal for him," Tara said. "Got kids?" Jack put in. "Ah, yes," she said, grabbing her purse. "They're my world." Laura showed off her kids' photos with pride. "You have a lovely family," Jack said, pulling out his wallet. "Here's mine," he said. Tara went next. Then both women looked at Ken. Jack knew it was a touchy topic and tried to steer the chat to golf so Ken wouldn't have to share his sad story. But Laura didn't get it. "What about you, Ken? Kids?" He thought about just saying no and moving on. But like Terry's divorce, it was way back and didn't hurt as much now. "No. My wife Jennifer was expecting after our 2nd year, but we lost the baby at 7 months. She was very sad for about a year after. Both of them went to help groups and learned to deal with it. But Jen won't try again. She's been on pills to stop a baby since then." Both friends were shocked. "Ken, I'm so sorry," they said at the same time. "Thanks," he said back. "You never really move past something like that. You just learn to deal with it." Then his voice got a bit brighter as he reached for his wallet. "I do have a picture of my wife, though." "She's pretty," said Tara, looking closer at the picture. "Can I see?" asked Laura. Tara passed the picture to her. Only Tara saw the change in Laura's face. Since they were kids, Laura's mouth would tighten when she felt stressed. It was a small thing, but Tara always noticed it. "Yes," Laura said quickly, giving the picture back to Ken. "She's very pretty." The next morning, they all met for breakfast before their first game of golf. They had a game set for 7:20 in the morning and another from 4 to 12 in the afternoon. The next day was Sunday. They had a game in the late morning. Then they had to pack up and fly back to snowy Chicago. Except for Laura, who was going back to her husband and kids in Atlanta since Friday afternoon. All the while they talked about their families, Tara saw her sister acting quiet. She asked her about it that night, but Laura said she was just tired from the trip and playing golf right after getting off the plane. Tara took her word for it then, but it was a new day, and after a good night's sleep, she was still acting odd. Tara wanted to find out what was wrong with her sister, but knew she couldn't talk to her until the evening. They had a full day ahead of them. Around the same time Ken and the others were getting ready for their second game of golf for the day, Jen's phone rang back in Chicago. She wiped her eyes and tried to sound okay as she answered. "Hello? Hey, friend." Marge was all smiles when she saw her. "So, have you picked a movie for tonight?" "Marge, I'm sorry, I didn't even check." It was clear she couldn't hide her sadness. "Jen, are you crying?" "Marge, it's just, Ken hasn't called. I think he's drifting away." "Oh, Marge, what did I do?" "What do you mean? What did you do? Tell me what's up, Marge." "I did something really bad," she cried. "Jen, make some coffee and try to calm down. I'll be there in 20 minutes and you can tell me everything, okay?" She sniffed and then hung up. Tara and Laura were chilling on their hotel room balcony. After a full day with 36 holes of golf and dinner with Jack and Ken, it was time to relax with wine and catch up. For Tara, more urgent was figuring out why Laura acted weird around Ken. "Come on, tell me what's going on. You had a look when you saw Ken's wife's photo, and all day you've been off, especially around Ken. Do you know his wife?" If I tell you, you must swear to keep it a secret from everyone. Can you do that? Yes, of course, I promise. Laura looked into her wine, about to speak when the phone rang. Wait, Tara said. Answering the call, she saw it was Ken. She switched to speakerphone. Hey, Ken, what's happening? Hi, Ken, Laura said, a bit unsure. Hey there, he greeted them. Looking at tomorrow, we've got some free time before we go. So I was thinking, how about we grab dinner one last time before we all head home? I heard about this cozy spot not too far from here and thought it could be nice to check it out on our way to the airport. What do you think? I hear it's often busy. We'll need to book now if we're going. Tara looked at her sister and nodded. Laura liked the idea. Yeah, Kin, sounds like a good time, Tara said. I'm in, added Laura. Great, I'll call to book. Let's meet for breakfast tomorrow at 8:30. That'll give us enough time before our golf game. All right, Ken. See you then. They said bye, and Tara hung up the phone. He's a good guy, isn't he? Laura noted. Yeah, I'll miss hanging out with them, but I hope their friend can make it next time. They talked about him on the flight. They think he's getting better and might join in this summer. But let's talk about you. You've been off lately. I slept with his wife, Laura whispered, feeling guilty. What? You did what? Whose wife? Ken's wife, Jennifer. Wait, that doesn't add up. How did you even when? Right before I left Chicago, Bill and the kids were in Atlanta. I had to stay to train my replacement. I was staying at Water Tower Place, you know? Tara nodded, still trying to understand. So I was eating lunch at one of the places downstairs when Jennifer walked up to my table. She recognized me. I went out with her brother in high school. Couldn't believe she remembered. I remember Jerry had a sister but couldn't have told you her face. I asked about Jerry and we started chatting, so I told her to take a seat. She said she used to think I was the most pretty girl she had seen. That made me feel really good. I asked if she had eaten. When she said no, I said lunch was on me because of my work money. After she picked her food, we talked more. Laura, that still doesn't clear things up. Tara, you know how confused I was back in high school? I once thought I liked only girls, but I liked boys too. So, I figured I was okay with both. I really liked Jerry. He was tall and handsome. He had a cool confidence you don't see in many 18-year-old guys. We were close for about half a year. Then, someone told him I liked girls too. He asked me about it, and when I said yes, I had been with some girls, he got mad and left me. He said he didn't want to be with a lesbian. It hurt a lot then. You know, I think I do recall that, but maybe not the reason why. However, I remember you were really sad. Yeah, she said, still feeling it a bit. It made me stay away from guys for a bit. But that didn't last. After going out with a few more guys, I realized I preferred them over girls. By the time I met Bill, I didn't want to be with another woman. And it stayed that way until I bumped into Jennifer. Laura took a drink of wine and paused, looking into the night. She told me she was envious of her brother while we dated. When Jerry told her why he broke up with me, she had this dream about us being together. She imagined us kissing. She didn't say it right out, but from how she talked, I could tell she fantasized about us. But she never actually was with a woman and didn't really want to. It was just about me. Tara was really mad at her sister, Laura. I'm so let down. You went behind Ken's wife's back and cheated on Bill, too. Remember how broken I was when Tony did that to me? Laura, you were there for me. How could you do this? I know. I'm not okay with it. Trust me. It was a mess. I don't know. I started to think back to being with a woman, and just like that, I felt something strong. Just hearing her talk lit a fire in me. I hadn't thought about being with a woman since school, but all my feelings shifted. She was right there, talking. Laura got teary. Tears fell down her face. I thought, just this once. Why not? My family was so far away. No one would find out. Did you know she was married? Laura slowly nodded. Yes, I saw her rings. But damn, Laura, I can't get over this. I know, hang in there, Laura, through her tears. Wait here, Tara said. She opened the sliding door to their room and grabbed her purse from the desk. Here, she said, giving Laura a tissue. Thanks. Laura wiped her face. So who started it? You or her? I did. She was surprised at first, but then I said I'm only in town till Sunday. Then I'd leave and she'd never see me again. I said it was her only shot to live out her dream. She worried her husband would find out, but I said he couldn't. Just make up a good lie, like visiting a sick friend. With a solid excuse he'd never know. Just this once. No fuss, no deep feelings, just gone. She'd live her dream from when she was a kid. I could tell she was thinking about it hard. So I asked for her number and told her to go home and think more. I'd call her the next day. I knew she was in as soon as I got her number. Just then, both women got a shock. Mean word. At first, they didn't know where the angry voice came from. "Oh, no!" screamed Tara as she suddenly remembered her phone didn't always hang up. "Ken? Is that you, Ken?" She looked at her sister full of fear. "Ken? He heard us? He heard everything?" "I think so," Tara said. "Oh, no. Tara, what do I do? I'm so sorry." Earlier that day at Hilton Head, no one knew Jen had told the whole story to Marge. Jen was so upset while telling it, Marge didn't want to leave her alone. No movie tonight. So Marge got her friend to come to her place. After eating, the kids went to watch TV. This let Marge and Jen sit with coffee in the kitchen and talk. Jen was still sharing her feelings when Marcel called. "It's Jack. Hold on, Jen," she said, taking the call. "Hello, love." Marge's face went from happy to shocked as her husband talked. "What? Why?" Oh no. Seeing her friend look so stressed, Jen was going to leave and not listen in. But Marge told her to stay. She wondered what was up as Marge listened with a worried face. "Couldn't you calm him? How did he—" "Yes, it's true. No, I didn't know till today." Suddenly, Jen looked worried too. "What? What's wrong?" she said. Marge looked as if she just lost her close friend. She hid the phone for a sec. "Bad news, dear." "Hang on. Need to find out more." She held the phone again, hearing her husband. "Oh, no, didn't swear with kids near. They're in the other room. She's here. She was scared Ken would cheat this weekend because—" "No, think it's her own bad feeling. After her secret weekend trip, she's been jumpy. This trip made it worse when I asked why she didn't like Tara. She spilled all. She was so sad. I took her home. Jen didn't need to hear Jack's voice to know a big mess had happened. Somehow can do. But that seems off. How did he find out? Can't you stop him? Talk to him. Make him." She looked at Jen, slowly shaking her head. "Okay, love. If he somehow comes back, tell me. Love you too, dear." Marge faced her friend. Jen looked so scared, as if her world just crashed. Tears were on her face, but a tiny hope was there. Hope that maybe she got the talk wrong. But Ken was so far away. How could he know her secret? Right as Jen finished that thought, her friend took away her last hope. "I guess you got what that was about. Ken knows," Marge said gently. Jen cried hard. "It was too much. How? How did he find out?" she sobbed. "I don't know, dear. Jack said he stormed in mad about you cheating. He said he never saw Ken so mad. He tried to calm him, figure it out. But Ken was too mad. He packed his stuff, left his clubs with Jack, and left." "He left? Where to? I guess he's on his way back." That's what Jack thinks. Jack hopes he's coming back tonight. He thought he could, maybe. His ticket was for the next day, so Jack wasn't sure if he could find a way back tonight. If luck's on his side, he'll need to stay at the hotel, and Jack will get to talk to him before you two meet. Jen was shaking now. "This can't be right," she cried. "How could he know?" "I don't know, dear, but I think it's true. Jack told me. Ken said he knows about last year's weekend." No, she wept, shaking her head. What do I do? I should go home. Dear, I wish I had the words. You don't think he'd hurt you, right? No, he wouldn't do that, no matter how mad he is, but I can't face him, Jen. You've got to, at some point. It's better to do it now." Tears still fell from her eyes. Jen just looked far off, silent. Her breath was short, her heart pounding. She thought about a life without Ken's love and care. "Jen, hear me out. If he comes back tonight, maybe he'll have cooled down. Perhaps he'll hear you out. Tell him what you told me. Say how sorry you are." Jen began to think clearer. "I don't see him listening, Marge. Not now, at least. Even then, what do I say? Yes, I was with someone else. But it was a woman, not a man. Does it matter? No, not to Ken. Not at all. I wanted his trust. No, I pushed for it, then broke it. Mar, I think I've lost the most important person to me. And I lost him." Tears came to Jen's eyes again. Marge walked over and rubbed her friend's back to make her feel better. "Honey, you don't know for sure. Ken's a smart, fair guy, and he loves you a lot. Don't lose hope." Jen just sat there, looking very sad. "I'll call Mrs. Murphy from next door and ask if she can watch the kids tonight," Marge said, picking up the phone. A few minutes later, all was set. Mrs. Murphy, a woman in her early 60s who lived alone, often watched Marge's kids. She said she'd come and would stay the night if needed. Jen or Marge didn't talk. On the ride back, Jen looked out the window feeling like she was on her way to something scary. Ken got to change his ticket and was now heading back to O'Hare. He sat in his seat looking troubled as people around him went on with their things, not seeing the sad person among them. He put his elbow on his seat's arm and his head in his hand. With so many people nearby, he never felt so alone. He was mixed up and hurt, mad, and he felt small, like a failure. He closed his eyes and thought back to a talk with his wife last spring. Trust her, he thought to himself. What a laugh. I didn't sleep with another man, she said. Silly, silly, silly. It never hit me to ask if she was with another woman. She knew I'd never think she'd do that. Yes, she's so... Without thinking, he took a deep breath and let it out slowly. How could she do this to me? To us. Doesn't matter if it's just in her head or with a man or woman. She knew what she was doing. He felt a tear start to fall and wiped it quickly. He looked around to see if anyone saw. He felt hurt for the first time since hearing about Laura and Tara, not just mad. The pain hit him hard. He felt sick and his heart raced. Then he rushed to find a restroom. Ken knew what it meant to hurt. His mom died when he was just 15. But this felt worse. The woman he loved had lied and made fun of him. She asked, "Do you trust me?" As if it was a joke. Could someone who did that really love him? Or was his marriage just a big lie? Ken washed his face and dried it. He lost track of time. All he knew was his marriage seemed done. He truly loved Jennifer, but love needs to work both ways, and he didn't feel loved back. Jennifer and Marge were in the kitchen when they heard him come in. Jennifer looked scared, like she was facing real danger. "Let me talk to him," Marge said. "He might listen." Jennifer shook her head. "No, I made this mess. I have to face him." Her face twisted and she cried again. "Marge, what do I do?" Marge hugged her. "Please, let me try to talk to him." But then they saw Ken in the doorway. It was clear Jennifer knew he learned about her affair, Jack. He thought of Jack. He should have known. Jack had taken his place, but that was okay. Most of his mad had turned to hurt, and he didn't want to fight. Not now. They all just looked at each other, silent for a long time. Ken walked away to his comfy chair and sat there looking at the floor. He wanted to say so much, throw so many blames at her. But now, it felt pointless. It's done, he thought. It's all done. He saw his soon-to-be ex-wife from the corner of his eye. She stood there, just looking. "I'm so sorry," she finally said, almost too soft to hear. "I have no good reasons. It was so selfish, so very selfish of me. Since then, I've felt bad every day. I've regretted it because I love you, Ken. I love you a lot, and I knew how hurt you'd be if you knew. I'm truly, deeply sorry." Ken laughed a bit, but not with joy. "Yeah, sure. You love me so much that you did it anyway, knowing it would hurt me. Yeah, that's love, sure. And that stuff about Tara being my girl, just a trick. Very smart, Jin. Very smart. No, that's not how it is. I don't want to hear it." Ken cut her off. "I don't want any more lies. Your tricks, just go away. Now I can't even look at you." Jen felt her heart sink. He didn't do or say anything unexpected. But she had hoped, even if just a little, that she could see some hope in his eyes. Her hope was wrong. "I'm sorry, Ken. Sorry for the hurt. I never wanted to hurt you." Marge was listening from the kitchen. "I don't want to make it worse. I've got a bag ready." Marge said I could stay with her for a few days. "Go," he said louder. "Just go. Leave me alone." Marge thought Jen might fall. She hurried over and took her arm. "Let's give him some space." Ken heard them moving around, picking up Jen's bag from the closet, and then the front door opened and closed. "I love you," her soft voice said, as Marge helped her out. Ken couldn't move from his seat. He heard Marge start her car and drive off. Her car lights passed by the window. She was leaving with his dreams, with the life he thought he'd have with the woman he loved more than all. This time he couldn't hold back. He dropped his face into his hands and cried. The next day, Marge was shocked when she saw Jack. She checked the clock. It was just after 10:30. "Jack, I didn't think you'd be here until late." "Yeah, well, Laura's tale about her, Jen, and Ken parting ways, it ruined things. I caught the first plane this morning." "He must have flown back last night because he never returned to the motel." "Yeah, he got home near midnight." I was with Jen when he came in. What went down? Well, what you'd guess. Ken told her to leave. He couldn't even bear to see her. I took her here with me. She's still asleep upstairs. I hope it's okay. Darn. What a mess. I'm not sure about her staying with us, Marge. The last thing I want is to be caught in this mess. Ken's been my close friend for ages, and I don't want him to think I'm picking Jen's side. Fine, she gave in. Let's see how things go. Hungry? I just woke up. Jen and I talked till 4 in the morning. I was about to cook some breakfast. The kids were out, giving Jack and Marge a chance to talk over bacon and eggs. Okay. Tell me, how on earth did Ken find out Jen was unfaithful? You won't believe it. Remember Tara's sister Laura? Yeah, that's the one Jen was with. No, but I thought she was in Atlanta. She is now, but she was in Chicago till last year. Talk about a small world story. He explained how Tara and her sister came to his room the night before to let Laura say sorry to Ken. It was too late. He found out his friend had heard their talk. Tara came to help her sister feel better. He said she needed it too. She cried so much it was hard to get what she said. Through her cries, she told me all. She said it was all her fault, and she pushed Jen into it. Before they left, Laura asked if I thought Ken would tell her husband. I wasn't sure. I doubted it. But Ken's reaction was new to me. I told her to go home and tell him herself. It's better he hears it from her than Ken. Will she do it? I'm not sure. She risks a lot. I feel bad for the kids. They have 3, all very sweet. Jack sadly shook his head and drank his coffee. One thing's for sure, Jen won't ask us to play golf with Tara again. She was too ashamed to fly back with me. She stuck with her later flight ticket. Jack's wife looked at the door behind him. He turned and saw his best friend's wife. How, Jack? How did Ken find out? Sit, Jen. Jack will tell you everything while I make food, Marge said. Tired and upset, she moved like a zombie to the table and sat shocked as Jack told her how her husband found out. I'm sorry, Jack. I really messed up, didn't I? I won't lie, Jen. This hits all of us, not just you and Laura. Marge and I are caught in this too. I feel dumb for defending you before. I told Ken you'd never cheat on him. Laura might lose her family. I've never seen Ken so mad and hurt, Jack. His wife said, giving him a sharp look. Yeah, it's true, he said with heat. Come on, doll, eat up, Marge said, kinder than her husband. They'll get cold. Jen went to her room, staying there all day and night. She wanted to be alone. The next morning, seeing Ken's car, Jack was shocked. He thought Ken would take a break. He didn't know what to say to his friend. Should he say sorry for saying Jen would never cheat? It was almost 11. When he got time, he saw Ken's office door shut all morning. He tapped lightly, then peeked inside. He saw Ken looking out at the city. Can I come in? Yeah, Ken said, not turning. Sorry about leaving my clubs with you. I'll cover the extra cost. No sweat, they're in my trunk. Remind me to give them to you later. Jack nodded, then was quiet. I'm really sorry, man. I wish I could help or say something good. But he stopped there. Yeah, I know. No one can do anything, Jack, but thanks for saying it. She's still at your place? Yeah, is that bad for you? 'Cause if it is, no issue. You sure? 'Cause she can't stay if... Jack, it's fine. Really? Ken sat at his desk. Jack sat across from him. Man, Jack, I don't know what's worse, that she cheated or how she did it. I can't forget that talk. Anyone else would lie, but not her. No, she made me look dumb. Do you trust me? She asked. Wow, talk about making it worse. Jack said, I don't think she meant to make it worse, Ken. Not sure what she thought, but she wasn't trying to rub it in. From what Laura said to me. Laura, when did you chat with her? Right after you left, she and Tara came to our room. Laura wanted to say sorry. They just missed you by a bit. Both felt really bad. Tara had tears, but Laura was sobbing hard. Ken didn't speak. He just looked away out the window. Jack saw his friend was hurt. What will you do now? Get a divorce? I guess. What else? She was with someone else. Jack! Yeah, I get she was. But wait, don't rush things. No need to hurry, right? Take some time. Maybe, I don't know, talk to someone like a counselor. Don't end everything so fast, man. Don't make me the bad one. Jack, I didn't cheat, Ken said sharply. No, I'm not saying you did. Look, you're my best pal. Whatever you pick, I'm here. I just see you're in pain and maybe want to make her feel it too. All I'm saying is don't act in anger and regret it later, got it? Ken kept looking out the window, thinking over what his friend said. After a short pause, he told Jack he wouldn't rush into anything. A week later, things were still up in the air. Ken tried to call his lawyer a few times, but just couldn't do it. Jack was leaving for a work call when he bumped into someone familiar. "Laura, what are you doing here?" "Hi, Jack. I'm here to see Ken," she said quietly. "I can't imagine what he thinks of me, but I need to say sorry. I need to tell him how sorry I am. How's he?" "How's he?" he snapped. "Bad. He made Jen leave. She's with me and my wife now. No, it wasn't her fault. I pushed her into it. I have to explain to him what happened, Jack. Do you think he'll see me? I doubt it. Besides, Jen's a big person. She wouldn't be there if she didn't want to. At least that's what the kid's going to think. I think it's no use, Laura. I really do. I have to try, Jack. This mess is all my fault. I must try. Well, if you just say you want to see him, he's going to send you away fast. What can I do? I came all this way. I can't go back without trying." Jack thought, "Damn." He told himself he didn't want to get more caught up in all this. "But look, I got a sales thing soon. I'll be back by 2. There's a spot named Plato's Place on Devon. 1 road over and 3 blocks to your right. Wait there. I'll come by after and see if I can help you meet Ken. Jack, thanks. You don't know how much this helps me. I haven't slept since it all started. It was almost 3 o'clock. When Jack and Laura got back to the office, "Hi, Betty," Jack said to Ken's secretary. "Is he free?" "Not more than usual," she said, smiling at the nice woman with Jack. "And who's this?" "Betty? This is Laura, a pal of mine, and Ken's." "Laura, Betty, hi," Laura said, reaching out her hand. "Laura, take a seat here while I tell Ken you're here," Jack said, knocking on the door. Betty wasn't sure what was up, but she saw Jack's friend was really nervous sitting down. Ken looked up as he heard the door. "Hi, Jack. How did it go with Jenkins?" "All right, I got the deal again. Funny thing, I met someone on my way there." "Who?" "Laura. She wants to talk to you, Ken. She's out here." "Jack, come on. Why'd you bring her? I won't talk to her. You should know that." "Darn it, Ken. She flew all the way here just to talk to you." "I don't care if she flew by herself," he said with a sneer. "She likely just wants to check if I'll tell her, man." "Okay, I'll say no deal, but I don't think that's her aim. She wants to tell you what went down. You've said to know all facts before you sign anything. Shouldn't the same be true for ending something, like a marriage?" "No, Jack. It was Jennifer who ended our marriage." Jack moved to the door. "Okay, Ken, but you might regret this." "Hold on." Jack's words clicked. "Okay, fine. Send her in." "Yes, boss," Jack said with a big grin. He went out and told Laura he'd see her. "Thanks, Jack," she said, going into a tough spot. The first thing she saw was how he sat. She was in business. She knew a guard-up pose when she saw one, and Ken was ready for a fight. She thought of shaking hands, but guessed he wouldn't. She stood a bit away from his desk. "Thanks for letting me talk, Ken. Given what you might think, I'm grateful." Ken just leaned back, quiet. She hoped he'd invite her to sit to make it easier, but he didn't. So she stayed standing. I know no sorry is enough for what I did to you and Jen. I don't think you'll forgive me, but I hope you can forgive your wife. It's not her fault, Ken. When I first said we could make her dream true, she said no. But I didn't stop. I used her weak spot. I made her think back to when she first thought of us together. I said it was a one-time thing. She was scared you'd find out, but I made her believe it would stay a secret. I made her think it wasn't really stepping out. I told her cheating is when a lady sleeps with another guy. Laura's legs shook from stress, and she asked if she could sit, not talking yet. Ken pointed to a chair across his desk. She sat and took a cloth from her bag to wipe her eyes. She said, "Ken, I know you heard me talk to Tara. It might have sounded easy to tempt your wife, but it was hard. I didn't tell my sister that part. That day at Water Tower Place, I talked a lot. I thought she was convinced when she left. But the next day, she said no when I called. I talked another hour until she said yes. Ken finally said, 'Why the whole weekend? Why not just one night?' I convinced her for that too. I thought since she'd never been with a woman, I needed time to make her feel okay, then teach her how to love me. One night wouldn't be enough. Laura, my wife isn't easily tricked into things she doesn't want, no matter how good you talk. You're right. If not for her dream, I could never have convinced her. But I kept telling her how it would feel good, thinking of us together. I told her she would always wonder about it. That thought would bug her forever if she didn't try this one chance. Tears ran down Laura's face. I'm sorry, Ken. You're a good man. You and Jen didn't deserve this. None of this would have happened if she hadn't seen me at the restaurant. Please don't be hard on her for one weak moment, please. Ken sat, looking at her cry, not showing pity. I'll think on it, he said without emotion. Laura nodded. That's all I can ask for. I didn't mean to hurt her or you. I'm so sorry, she said, standing up. I hope you can say sorry to her. Ken, she's a good one. She loves you lots. She messed up. We all mess up now and then. She didn't chase an affair. She fell into my plan. Please give her another shot. Laura was glad. She got to say her piece and walked to the door. Won't you ask if I'll tell your man what happened? Ken spoke up. She turned to him. Somehow, Ken, you don't seem like the type to do that. If I was a guy, sure, they'd have to drag me out of here hurt. But I can't see you wanting to wreck my home to get even. Plus, it's too late. I told my husband the truth as soon as I got back. You did? He said, surprised. And what went down? Well, he wasn't happy, for sure. Like you. He was very sad, and it's tough for him. But he's trying. With that, Laura headed home, ready to do all it takes to fix her marriage. Not much changed in the next few days, but Laura gave Ken more to think over. At Jack's place, things were still tense. Jennifer felt the chill from her husband's best friend, so she kept to her room. Just a few days after Laura visited Ken, Jack heard a bad sound from the washroom downstairs as he was going for breakfast. He went over and listened at the door. It was like someone being sick. He knocked softly. Who's there? You okay? He asked. Leave her be, Jack. He saw his wife. Is that Jennifer? Is she sick? Yeah, she woke up feeling bad. It's likely the stress. Come on, breakfast is ready. Jack didn't think much of it until he heard it again the next day. At breakfast, he checked on Marge, asking if she was still sick. If not better by tomorrow, he said. She needs to see a doc. Hope it's not catching. We can't have everyone sick. Marge agreed. 2 days later, with the kids at school, Jack, having eggs and bacon with his wife, asked, Did Jen see a doctor? She's got an appointment next week. Next week? She's been sick for days. She can't get one sooner? Marge didn't speak, making Jack worry. What? What is it? He was getting mad. Marge touched his hand to calm him. She's got a baby coming. A baby? Yes, a baby. Now Marge was mad. It's his, right? Of course, how could you ask that? She was upset. Hey, she cheated with a woman. Who says not with a man, too? Jack, that's not fair. Trust is key, and blaming without reason isn't right. You lie once, and all trust is gone. It's sad but true, Marge. She sighed. He had a point, though she hated to admit it. Jack, I can't think Jen would be with another guy. I don't, not really, but trust, once lost, is hard to get back. I get it, Marge said, tired. Are you sure she's pregnant? Marge nodded. Jack, I've had 3 kids. I know morning sickness when I see it. She took a test at home yesterday and it was positive. We're going to the doctor next week to double check, but I'm sure of it. But you can't say a word to Quinn, okay? She didn't want me to tell you. Why not? Quinn needs to know. His wife is having his baby. I agree. But she's really scared right now. Remember what happened last time? Yes, I remember. What did she do? Stop taking her pills? No. She uses a diaphragm, but it didn't work right. Does it matter? It happened. Why doesn't she want to tell Quinn? I can't see him leaving her now. That's the thing. She doesn't want him to stay just because he feels he has to. If they stay together, she wants it to be because he really loves her, and not just out of duty. Well, that's good of her. But it's clear. He's going to feel it's his duty. Do you think Quinn would leave his own child? Even if he started a divorce, it wouldn't be done for 6 months. She'll be showing by then. She can't hide this for long, and he can stop the divorce any time. Marge thought it over. You're right. She's just not thinking straight right now. But I can't keep this from Quinn and make him even madder. And even though Ed's upset, he still loves her. She'll need him, Marge. I think he's just looking for a reason to come back. And this is surely it. That day was busy at work for both Jack and Quinn. Near the end of the day, Jack asked his friend to grab a drink. Quinn thought it was a great idea. It had been a tough day and relaxing sounded good. He didn't know Jack wanted to talk about something important until he suggested sitting at a table instead of the bar. They ordered drinks before Jack began to talk. "I gotta ask, buddy. Made up your mind yet?" Ken glanced at the server coming with their beers and nodded he'd wait till she left before talking. Truth is, he hadn't decided. Though he couldn't see trusting her again, the thought of leaving her tore at him. He still loved her, despite the hurt. A sip of beer gave him a moment before he answered Jack. "No, I haven't, Jack." Laura tried saying sorry, taking all the blame, but it wasn't just her. Jen knew what she was doing going off that weekend, and what bugs me even more than what she did is how she did it. All that talk of trust. "You say she didn't mean to hurt me, but I can't see it any other way. But you know me, not the type to give up. On anything, especially not my marriage. Maybe we need help." He took another drink. Why is this a problem now? Jack was torn. He wanted the best for his friend, but was unsure what that was. He knew Ken loved her, but was taking Jennifer back really good for him. Yet he couldn't keep secrets. It would only make things worse. No, not a problem. But yeah, maybe it is. Fiddling with his beer, Jack finally spoke up. "She's pregnant." Ken couldn't believe it at first. After they lost a baby, his wife didn't want to try again. Losing that baby hit them hard. He had lost hope of being a dad. "Is Jen with a kid?" he asked, his voice full of shock. Jack just nodded. "Yeah, she's been sick in the mornings. Marge thought it might be a baby thing and had her take a test. It was a yes. She's seeing a doc next week to be sure, but Marge is sure of it." Jack saw his buddy just staring at the floor, silent as if hit by lightning. "She didn't want us to tell you," he went on. "Marge says she's scared but didn't want you back just because you felt you had to. She wants you to want her. She knows I love her. She'd have left for good if I didn't." "Jack, I don't know what I'm thinking now, but it's hard," he said, clearly torn. "I need time to think," he told Jack. "For now, don't tell Jen anything. She should think I don't know." "Sure, won't say a word." Jack thought his friend would say he'd take her back right away after hearing this, but was shocked at Ken's unsure reaction. He had to ask, "You're not sure about staying with her?" "I don't know, Jack. I just don't know. It all goes back to that trust thing. This baby news changes stuff." Ken took a deep drink. "Ready?" he asked. They left for home. Marge wanted to know what happened the moment he walked in, but Jen was there helping with dinner. It was much later, after the kids were asleep and Jen had gone to bed, that she finally got to ask. "So, did you tell Ken?" "Yeah, I did," he answered, hesitating a bit. "And what did he say? Will she move back in?" "He didn't take it how I thought. He talked about maybe seeing someone to talk to, but said he needed to think more. He was really thinking of leaving her for good. It shocked me the way he talked. He believed she was showing him up when she asked him to trust her back. To him, that was the worst kind of betrayal. He just couldn't let it go. For the first time since the mess started, both Marge and Jack had to think their friends might split up. "My God, Jack, what will she do if he leaves her? It will break her." "I know, love, but it's not our choice. We'll help her as much as we can, but I won't turn on Ken. If we have to pick sides, you know where I am." "I know," she said with a sad tone. "I just never saw it coming to this." 3 days after Jack and Ken talked, Jen's phone rang. She shook with fear when she saw the caller ID. It felt like ages waiting for his call. Now she was scared to pick up. Her hand shook and her voice was quiet. "Hello, Ken." "Hi, Jen, how are you?" His voice was cool and made her worry more. "Okay, you?" "I'm okay, Jen, we need to talk. There's a lot I still need to know. I've thought about how to do this. I think we should see a pro. A counselor, probably for married folks." To Jen, this was the best news in a long time. She wasn't sure which questions he meant, but any chance to say sorry was good. She'd do anything, even kiss his feet if needed. She agreed fast to his plan and said she'd meet him whenever, wherever he wished. "Okay, I'll look for a good one and call you back. Ken." She spoke fast before he could hang up. "Yes? I'm so sorry for all this. I love you so much," is all he said before the line went dead. Ken had big problems. Not trusting her was the worst. Could he ever trust her again? He had a plan to find out. Maybe it wouldn't fix everything, but it would help. Unless she lied again. Then it would all be over. They talked, and soon Jen's phone rang. She didn't know the number. "Hello?" she said, a bit unsure. "Hello? Is this Jennifer Ryan?" "Yes, I'm Jennifer. Who's this?" "Miss Ryan, I'm Linda Wilson. I'm calling from Dr. Holds Jerome's office. Your husband set up some talking sessions for you two. Can I get a time for your first meeting?" Yes, she said, happy. "Anytime. The sooner the better." Linda said they'd each meet the doctor alone first for an hour, to share their side without the other getting upset. Ken had his meeting set for the next day. Jen took the last spot that morning. After hearing them, the doctor saw Jen didn't get the full picture. She thought it was all about her being with a woman, but hearing Ken, he saw it was more. Ken was shocked by how she looked at their first together meeting. She tried to look nice, but she was thin and looked tired. Dark circles were under her eyes and she was pale. She said hi in a weak voice, looking unsure. The past weeks were tough on her, it was clear. With the first steps done and both sitting down, the doctor began. "Mr. Ryan, after talking to you both, I see Mrs. Ryan doesn't see all the problems. So we'll start with you. Tell her what you shared with me." "Okay," said Ken. He began talking but looked at the floor, not at her. "I can almost get why you did it. Laura came to me a few days back and told me how hard she worked to get you into your little lesbian adventure. What I can't forgive is how you had to show it off to me. You showed me no respect at all." "What?" she almost yelled. "No, never." "Honey, I didn't. Please, Mrs. Ryan, let him finish. Thanks." He looked at the old man across from him. "Don't say no. Remember what you asked when we first talked? Do you trust me? You knew it hurt me. If you had made up any story about why you were gone for the weekend, I'd think, okay, she's trying not to hurt me. But no, you talked about trust. You made a fool of me and I believed it." Jin was now crying, using a tissue to dry her tears. Ken stopped talking. It was hard for her to speak through her cries, but she had to clear things up. "No, Ken, you're so wrong. It's not like that." The doctor tried to cut her off again, but Ken let her keep going. "Ken, I have no good reason for what I did. It was a terrible thing, the worst I've ever done, and I did it to the most important man in my life. I knew it was very bad, but I wanted it so much I couldn't stop myself. But our talk wasn't about not caring for you or showing off how I tricked you. I love and respect you more than any man I've ever known. When I saw Laura that day, all the past came rushing back." She wiped her eyes and kept going. "You know, my family doesn't like gay stuff. My brother isn't any better. I might think more open, but that doesn't change how the people I love would see me if they knew about my gay dreams. Jen, it's not about that. Please, let me talk. Listen, please." Ken sat, almost daring her to make her case. "I just want to share how I felt. When I was young, I felt bad and ashamed, but I couldn't stop myself. That day when I saw Laura in the cafe, she said it was a one-time thing and I'd never get another chance. She even said the word I thought then, fate. It was fate that brought us back together. I wanted it so much." Realizing what she said, she looked down, embarrassed. "I didn't mean it like that," she said. "Keep going," the doctor urged her, not even smiling at the slip. "All right, even though I knew my family, how you'd react if you found out I had to do it. I'd never get this chance again, and of course no one would ever know. You wouldn't. How could you?" Dr. Holt stopped tapping his desk when he saw she was losing track. "Why did you break your husband's trust then? Can you see how that would look to him? As if you were showing off your lie?" "Yes, I see that now. But then, I didn't think about it like that. I didn't mean to make you feel bad. The opposite. I did it this way because I couldn't lie to you. At first I considered it, but I just couldn't. For two reasons. One, I respect you too much to trick you with a lie. And two, I'm bad at lying. I couldn't risk messing up my own story. There was a lie. If you found out I lied, you wouldn't stop until you knew it all. I know you. If I just said, trust me, and kept quiet, you might never find out. Sure, you'd wonder and feel a bit hurt, but not as much as if you knew what I did. No, I thought just saying I had to leave without questions was safest. That's what I thought, at least." Jen's throat felt dry. The doctor gave her water, and she kept going. "It wasn't until I got home and saw the broken lamp. I got how much I hurt you. I really wanted to fix it, but you pushed me away. How can Jen fix what she broke?" The anger in his voice shocked her. "How do you fix someone's hurt, especially when you caused it? I don't know, she cried. I didn't get your pain. I thought you'd just be a bit annoyed. I'm sorry, Ken. Really sorry. Okay, the doctor said we're all very emotional. Let's take a break. Mr. Ryan, think about what Mrs. Ryan said. Does it make sense? Got questions? Ken thought hard about her words. To him, it kind of made sense. Maybe she didn't mean to make him look dumb, but trust was still a big issue. He just listened for now. Please believe me, she said, looking at him. I just wanted to hurt you less, hoping I could fix it when back. Of course, it didn't go as planned. She looked down again. The doctor cut in and asked Ken to share his feelings from that weekend, detailing all the hard emotions he endured. Jen cried more and kept saying sorry when it was her turn to speak. Both Ken and Dr. Strong could see and hear she meant it. She was really sorry. The doctor was good at his job. He made sure they both had time to share their thoughts. Ken waited until the end of the session to make his move. Jen, now I get why you did what you did, but if we got back together, one thing would still be missing. Kids. I know you were so sad when we lost our baby. Me too. But even though the doctor said it might not happen again, you won't even talk about trying one more time. Jen, I want kids too. If we stayed together, I'd want to try again. This was it. Her answer to his last point would decide everything. He had figured it out. She got pregnant the last time they were together, not even 5 weeks ago. A first baby can come late, she might think. She might try to trick him and get pregnant right away. Or will she tell the truth? She didn't know how big her next words were. She was playing with a used tissue. Telling him meant she might never know if he came back because of love or because he felt he had to. Well, she thought, can I ever be sure I have something to say? I didn't want to say it because I didn't want it to be why we got back together. But I'm already pregnant, Ken. She cried. I'm so scared. If I lose this one too, I don't think I can deal with losing another baby. For the last hour, Ken had been worried. To take her back, trust was key. Her telling him was a good sign. Ken stood up, walked over, and hugged his crying wife. He wasn't sure what to do yet, but he wasn't cold-hearted. He tried to calm her, rubbing her back and talking softly. It's okay, Jen. There's no way to think this baby won't be healthy. Right, Mrs. Ryan, said the doctor, joining in. Many women lose their first baby, but then have lots more without issues. I know, she said, tears still falling, but I'm so scared. The doctor gave her more water while Ken kept comforting her gently. Their time was up, but they were making good progress, so Dr. Holdren didn't rush them. When they had to leave, he set up their next visit for the week after. Ken wanted to take her home, but decided to talk over what they discussed at the doctor's instead. She was trying to stop crying as they went to her car. Ken told her he'd drive given how she felt. He took her to Jack and Margie's, made sure she was settled, then asked Jack to help get her car. It was a long, tough day. Ken was beat when he finally went to bed. All week he thought about their talks and what brought them to this point. He was really hung up on how she tricked him by questioning his trust. This was not like her, and for a while he wasn't sure if he really knew his wife at all. She said things in therapy that sounded just like her. He knew she'd never lied to him before. He could see her thinking, what if I mess up later and he finds out I lied? But if she just asked him to trust her, that would have felt safer to her. Then, of course, there was the cheating. It didn't matter if it was with a man or woman, it was still a stab in the back. Laura took all the blame, but Jen wasn't off the hook. Sure, there were reasons. He thought about her long-held dream, Laura's way of selling it. But it still didn't change things. He had to choose, forgive or not. He spent half the night awake thinking it all through. He looked in his heart, and by 3 a.m, he had his answer. It seemed like spring was pushing winter away in Chicago for the first time since December. The temperature hit the mid-40s. Melted snow made it hard to walk straight. Ken was already in the counselor's office when his wife walked in. She looked worried and scared as she sat down. How are you, Mrs. Ryan? Dr. Holtstrom asked. Okay, I guess. I had a doctor's visit yesterday and he said I'm pregnant. I'm just really scared. That makes sense, Mrs. Ryan. Honey slipped out of his mouth. It was the first time since they'd been back from Hilton Head. Please don't worry. This baby is going to be fine. He's going to get straight A's, be a star in football. He'll bring the prettiest girl to prom and do great in college and in life. He's going to marry an amazing woman, just like I did, and give us lots of grandkids. I know it. She almost missed the most wonderful woman part. How do you know it's going to look good? Did you mean the most amazing woman ever? Ken sat back, a small smile on his face. What if I did? Her face lit up all at once. Hope shone in her eyes. Ken, please, no games. Does this mean you forgive me, Jen? It hurt so much when I found out what you did. I was so mad about your lie, and it hurt bad to know you picked someone else over me. I kept thinking, would I have done the same in your spot? The answer was always no. Ken got up and walked to get some water, but I thought about the 8 good years with you as my life partner. Did those years mean you deserve forgiveness? Yes, they do. Before he could speak again, Jen got up and ran into his arms. Ken, I love you so much, she cried, holding him tight. I love you too, he said back. But this is the only free pass. You get that, right? Yes, my love, she said, nodding fast. I'll be the best wife and mom you could want. After having a healthy boy, Jennifer Ryan kept her word. 2 years on, little Kyle Ryan got a sister, Monique. Kyle grew up smart and strong and even took the town's prettiest girl to the senior prom. Well, he thought she was the prettiest. 5 years after, he married her. Monique grew up well, even if she was a bit firm and made her dad worry at times. But she was always his special girl. Jennifer and Ken Ryan still live happy together. Now retired, they love to spoil their 5 grandkids. Ken still plays golf, almost every Sunday with Jack, Smitty, and Arnie. Yes, Arnie got better from his fight with cancer and was back to playing golf with his friends. They all saw Tara at the course now and then. In fact, she still stepped in now and then. What went on with Laura and Bill? That's a big tale, right? Hey, listeners, if you enjoyed watching this video and want to stay updated with our latest content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss out on what's coming next. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video with Queen Cheating Tales.